Today is the day of the decision. Threaded sleeve, anchor plate or ground beam?
Flood Protection Secrets, the podcast to the protection against heavy rain and flooding by Dr. Flood, Andreas Klippe.
So the big challenge is, how can house owners like you and me get a flood-free home? How can business managers like you and me get a flood-free company? And how can public servants provide flood-free critical infrastructure and livable cities?
Flood Protection Secrets, the podcast by Dr. Flood, Andreas Klippe. This podcast is for foresighted and proactive people who do not want to shovel the muddy water out of their room while standing in the midst of the disaster.
Therefore, those who design and plan, the architects and engineers, need to construct such buildings and cities, and that even when the entire environment is completely flooded. That is a challenge, and this podcast will give the answers.
Flood Protection Secrets, the podcast by Dr. Flood, Andreas Klippe.
Yeah, today is the day of the decision, threaded sleeve, anchor plate or ground beam, and I'm going to explain the difference today. So in a previous podcast, I mentioned already that I said, dear architect, don't be afraid when we touch your building, because I always say, don't do it, don't touch, but we have to touch. How else can we attach the flood barriers at the building to protect the entrance from the danger of flooding? So there are different elements normally that have to be attached somewhere. These are side channels at the wall, at the floor, and today we talk about the floor. These are back braces, middle supports, corner supports, compression bars. If you don't know what exactly these things are, don't worry. These are these vertical components to install these flood barriers. In case of demountable flood barriers, if you want to have this Buster Keaton span, the very long span. I always mention that Buster Keaton, the hero from the Hollywood stars, the Hollywood era in the 1920s, when the film came without sound, and then they always were walking around with these long wooden planks, and there were funny situations because they hit the people were falling. So, and Buster Keaton was the hero, and that is why I call it the Buster Keaton span, when they are very long. So then you need the back brace, middle support. If you cut the spans into shorter parts, corner support, compression bars to stabilize the barriers. So all these require connection with the ground, with the floor. And of course, there are different possibilities to use threaded sleeves, anchor plates, ground beams, and I always suggest to go immediately for anchor plates or ground beams, as long as the depth of the foundation is not big enough, because we need these 250, 300 millimeters, something like that, to insert a dowel after drilling, a threaded sleeve. And if that is not the case, then you can immediately go for an anchor plate. But that must be known long ago, because this anchor plate must be produced, and the ground beam must be produced, and everything must be shipped, of course. So the ground beam comes in different parts, so that they will be connected on site. Don't worry, you have not to think about a 10-meter ground beam. No. So let's talk about it. Threaded sleeve is the first thing. So that is a metallic dowel, made by stainless steel. So we use M16, M20, M24. So they are really heavy duty. And when I see some other dowels from others, a customer one time was showing it to me, that is like a small screw that you that you use to hang a a picture frame at the wall. For me, I always call them junior screws because that is not serious. That is not heavy duty. So a threaded sleeve is a heavy duty thing, and that has a value. Of course, it is not cheap, but at the end, it is responsible that you are protected. So you want to save in exchange of your safety? I don't think so. That is not a good idea. That's why we don't do that. We always use heavy-duty threaded sleeves, and because we care about the safety of our customers. So that is, I always mention, it's German quality. I'm a German engineer. That's why I say that, of course. And we have introduced this quality system, and I don't reduce the price just because I want to come up with cheaper materials. No, we don't do that. If you want to gamble, then go to the casino. I always say we don't play with the safety of our customers. So the next are for the threaded sleeves. By the way, we have to drill into the foundation, into the floor, and for M16 or M20 and 24, it is very advisable to use core drilling machines. That makes it easier to drill vertically, and that the drill holes are all aligned. Yes, I know you can do it without the core drilling machine, because a core drilling machine also is a very expensive tool. Very expensive tool. We use it when we are in the Philippines, when we are installing by our own. But abroad, somewhere else, in Vietnam, in Qatar, in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, or Singapore, Malaysia, Korea, Japan, then of course we will not, and we don't install by our own. Means we only supervise. Yeah, there is a flood expert coming, and who will supervise the installation, and then of course we tell the local contractor what to do. But what if the local contractor is not having a core drilling machine? The big ones, the serious ones, they have. But what if not? And what if at this day there is no core drilling machine? And then they start with a normal drilling machine. And then the first thing what they do is the first drill hole is already with an angle. It is not rectangular. It is not vertical, sorry. And the 4 drill holes are not aligned. Not a good idea. That is why whenever I can, I tell the people, why don't you go for an anchor plate? The anchor plate is a plate. It can be done by mild steel or hot galvanized steel or stainless steel, and there are anchors already attached to it. So we use friction welded anchors, and they are really heavy duty. If ever you have time, you can look to Wikipedia or to YouTube about friction welding. So the 2 parts are pressed to each other and are turning. And because of this turning movement, the material is getting hot. It's getting hot, and that is how it is melting after a while. And that is how the material is interconnected with each other. That is friction welded. And if it is not friction welded, the risk is high that it might not withstand the water pressure. That is why also that is an element that is very important for the quality. Not everybody is offering that because it's expensive, but it pays in for your safety. Once again, if you want to gamble, go to the casino. We don't play with the safety of our customers. And this anchor plate can be easily embedded into the foundation. And then you pour the cement, and there it is. So nobody from us, or when it comes to the final installation of the flood barriers, have to drill. Yeah? Oh, that was a lot of technical information, wasn't it? Time for a small jingle. Yeah, that was a short one. And there is one more anchor plate that can be used, and that is an adjustable anchor plate. I highly recommend to use it because some people attach the normal anchor plate to the rebars, especially when it is a new installation and of a of a floor, and then of course you have many square meters of rebars, and then they attach the anchor plate at the rebars, and that happened to us one time. At the end, the whole construction of rebars were moving again, and later there were slopes, and the slopes have not been there before. So that is why the adjustable anchor plate should always be connected to the ground and not connected with the rebars when it comes to the new installation. That makes it also a little bit more expensive, but at the end you save so much time and so much money, because to repair everything later, that is an incredible work. Incredible. So don't do that. Adjustable anchor plate, that is a solution. And yeah, the next is a ground beam. A ground beam is nothing else than a C channel, or some also call it U profile channel. So U or C, depending how you watch to it. But at the end, it is the same thing. That is a ground beam that is embedded into the concrete, and we do that, for instance, for lift hinge floodgates. These floodgates with a rubber seal at the bottom, and to have always a clean and clear ground. So that a ground beam is very advisable. But it works without as well, as long as the asphalt or the concrete are in a good shape. There's no problem about it. But in our case, when it comes to middle supports or middle back braces, corner supports, all these kind of vertical elements, then the anchor plates should be embedded with a ground beam. And it is the same thing. Use adjustable anchor plates, and don't connect the ground beam with the embedded anchor plates with your rebar system. Because if later anybody is correcting anything and doing anything, that has an effect on your construction, and then the ground beam with the anchor plates is not leveled anymore. There might be slopes, it will not work, and a big headache is coming. And what are the advantages for the building owner? Perhaps I should mention something about that. The installation is done by a contractor or another third party. Okay. You never know about the quality of these people who at the end really drill. I said already, we supervise the things, but there are also customers who want to do it alone. And I always tell them, look, you reduce your warranty, and you reduce the quality, most probably. Because if you don't know exactly how to do, it's quite difficult. So supervision is always a must. And we did that already, or we did that in all countries outside the Philippines, where we only supervise, because it's quite difficult because of the labor laws to do it by your own. And it's not necessary. That reduces the price for you, and that is fine so far. So what if you have you don't want to use a ground beam? Then I always ask a question: are there heavy vehicles going in, going out? Imagine a factory for. I always mention factory for semiconductors, for instance, a semiconductor factory. So there are always forklifts getting in, getting out. Sometimes there are trucks coming in, coming out, depending on how the company is organized. And in Germany and Korea and in Japan, we use snow plugs. China and parts of China as well. In wintertime, when it is snowing, and then these snow plugs, of course, they shovel the snow. And for this reason, it is not advisable to have elements or dome-headed bolts attached to the anchor plates. Use flat-headed bolts, and then it is absolutely flat. That is also advisable at entrances of supermarkets or shops, for instance, where you can expect that some ladies are coming and walking with high heels. So, and when you have a dome-headed bolt, it's perhaps not that good. So flat-headed, it's much better because there's no risk of any accident. Or consider luggage, that you arrive with your suitcase. You remember last time when you were at an airport and you were carrying your trolley with you, and mine is always making a noise. I have an old one and I don't want to get rid of it because I really like it, but it's very noisy all the time. The new ones, they don't make any noise, by the way, but they have wheels, and in this case four wheels, the new ones. And then it is not that comfortable when you take them, and there are these dome-headed bolts. So frequent delivery is another example where it is not advisable. It doesn't do anything with the bolts. The snow plug, yes. The snow plug, yes, that is not a good idea. But frequent delivery wheels, rubber wheels or something like that, that doesn't do anything. So at the end of the day, the question you have to ask yourself is, what kind of barrier lengths do you have? Do you want to go for these long Buster Keaton spans? Or do you have vertical elements to get shorter spans? At this moment, you have to attach your vertical elements like middle supports to the ground, to the floor. How about the existing or new foundation? And then you have different possibilities. You can use threaded sleeves, you can use anchor plates, adjustable anchor plates. Please always don't connect them with the rebars. I explained why. And you have a ground beam and you can attach the anchor plates already with it. That makes it at the end very easy to install the whole flood barrier system when it is supervised by our own people. And it is a very, very useful investment for your safety. And as I always say, if you want to gamble, go to the casino, but we don't play with the safety of our customers. I wish and hope for you that you make the right decisions when it comes to your personal flood protection. And if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to this podcast channel if you haven't already. Now it only remains for me to wish you a good day. Do something with it. Maybe until the next podcast episode. I would be very happy. See you then. As always, stay safe and flood free. Your Andreas Klippe and the whole Flood Experts team.
That's it again with the new episode of Flood Protection Secrets, the podcast by Dr. Flood Andreas Klippe, German engineer, book author, and head of the Flood Experts. What can Dr. Flood Andreas Klippe protect for you? Anytime? Worldwide? Contact us or just click through to www.thefloodexperts.de/bonus. Detailed engineering, German quality, safe. Flood protection secrets. The secrets you'll want to unfold.
Don't forget, you're only one flood barrier away.
Subscribe to the season, and you'll never be late for an episode.